What are your favorite non-manga books? Favorite non-manga books? Basically anything from Herman Hesse. Like Siddhartha, Damien, what else? Looking at my bookshelf right now to remember. Yeah, I can't see from here. Do you mean fiction books only, or... Currently, I'm trying... Hold on. I'm trying to... Bitch. Because I got out of the habit of reading... I was a bookworm until the age of 16. And then I wasn't able to concentrate anymore. So, I started reading more manga because there's more pictures than words. It was easier to consume manga. And until like 4 or 5 years ago, I wasn't able to read manga anymore either because of the concentration issues, which is why I started this channel to get back slowly into reading, slowly. So this channel is just to help me get back into reading, and I'm starting with manga. And I'm doing it in a stream format because if viewers can hold me accountable, then I'm gonna do it. Otherwise, I'm not gonna do it. At the same time, I'm trying to slowly get into books again. I bought so many new books because I'm curious about them, because I want to read them. And one that I'm trying to read right now, but I stopped because I was fucking scared, is House of Leaves by Mark Danielewski. House of Leaves. And I chose this one especially because I've heard that this is quite a different experience when it comes to reading, because usually when you read a book, you do it the same way for every book, right? You open the book, you read from left to right. If you're from a Western country like me, you read from left to right, then you finish the page, you turn the page, and you continue reading, right? That's how you read books. And this one flips this concept on its head, because you have to put in so much work to read. Just look at these 2 pages. Some passages are mirrored, some are on their head, some have like footnotes, and they're in different fonts because they belong to different parts of the stories, because the story is layered. Like, it starts with like a report about people finding notes of someone, the notes that someone took of a movie, and the movie that is about a family or a married couple, that is, and so on and so forth. Like, it's layered, and you have to put in a lot more work into, like, look at this. It's so creative. You have to put a lot more work into reading this, and it keeps you, look at this, and it's on its head. So you're not bored by just going with your eyes left to right, left to right. You can engage with the book, which is why I chose this one to try to get back into reading. And it worked. Like, it was super suspenseful. I read the first chapter, was it the introduction? And then I was scared, because this is a horror book. I got so scared by just the introduction that I put it away, because I was like, maybe I should just read this when I have someone that I can, I don't know, sleep with. I mean, share the bed. Like, you know what I mean. When you're scared, sometimes, when you were a child, you went into a parent's room and slept with your parents, right? There was someone there to comfort you. But I have no one. I live alone. And I can't call anyone to come up here and, like, comfort me. That's impossible. So, I was so fucking scared. And then I read reviews, and it said that they got so scared they couldn't sleep properly for weeks. They had to call their family in a panic. They had to put the book away for their mental health. And I was like, that sounds so intriguing. That sounds so good. Like, I love horror. It's my favorite genre. So I was like, how would horror work in a book? Like, with movies, it's easy because you have the audio-visual experience, right? To make a mood, and then to, I don't know, scare you psychologically and of course physically with jump scares and so on. But with books, like, you can't produce a jump scare in a book, right? So I was curious, like, why are people so scared of this book? And then I read, like, as I said, the first. You can see where I stopped here. It wasn't even the first chapter. It was the introduction. I got so scared I put the book away because I was like, am I prepared to have my life changed by a fiction book? Am I prepared for that? Am I prepared to be scared out of my mind and have no one to comfort me? I decided no, I wasn't prepared for that. I put it away for a while, and now I'm like, it's just a book. I don't know why I was so scared. I'm gonna try again. So yeah. Favorite manga? Do you like Stephen King? I don't like Stephen King at all. I don't understand how he could become a writer, to be honest. But it's admirable that he can just shit out books every fucking month or so. But honestly, I don't like the way he writes. I don't like his stories. They're so simple. They're so, and he doesn't even remember half of his books because he wrote them in a cocaine rush. Like, I don't like his writing style. It doesn't have any beauty to it. It's not remarkable at all. I hate his writing style. I tried reading the Dark Tower series. I read the first volume a few years ago. And I hated it. Not necessarily because of the contents. The contents were rather okay. But the way he wrote, I don't like Stephen King at all. Her stomach growl sounded like a witch howling in the wind. That is insane, because a stomach growl, everyone knows how a stomach growl sounds like, but no one knows how a witch howling in the wind sounds like. How are you gonna describe something concrete with something abstract? It should be the other way around. He was 19 when he wrote that, so I forgive him. He did more as a 19-year-old than me at 26, so I forgive him. My dad gifted me Siddhartha, but I haven't read it yet. Siddhartha is beautiful. I've had Damien on my shelf for years, but haven't read it. It's beautiful. At least because I have the original German version. It's so beautiful. I think the Bhagavad Gita is one of my favorite books too. But the Leopold von Schröder translation of the Bhagavad Gita, no other translation comes close. I tried, hold on, where did I put the religious books? Forgot where I put my religious books. Oh, and then the bottom shelf. Anyway, I have like this thick of a Bhagavad Gita, and it was like explained by some Brahmin or whatever. It's not beautiful. It's not good. Like it's too much like an esoteric textbook. It's not really gripping. It's not really a story. But the Leopold von Schröder version, the German version, is so beautiful. The language is so beautiful. I read it twice. Okay, but this was listened to it twice because I listened to the audiobook. And same with the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, but there's just one version that I like. This time from an English translation, just one. And I don't remember it. Let me look it up. So for me, language plays a role when I read books because the writing style plays a big role when I read books because if the contents are not that important as the writing style, in my opinion, because if you have a specific type of content and you have it in movie format, you can have it in comic format or video game or book, each one of these media has their strength that can't be replicated in these other media, right? With games, it's the interactive part. With movies, it's that you don't imagine much. Your imagination is taken away and projected by someone else, their vision of this thing, and onto the big screen, and you're consuming it. So you have the colors, the motions, the sounds, you have the entire experience as someone envisioned it. You can consume it directly. You have the music too, right? And with a comic, the imagination is taken away from you, but you can appreciate the art style, like someone's skill with their hand producing this art. And with books, so what's the strength of books? It's the language, it's the writing style. So if I can consume a specific type of content, let's take Stephen King. The Fog. I like The Fog. The movie. I would not read his books. Like, if there was a faithful adaptation of all of his books in movie format, I would watch the movies. I would never read his books because, honestly, I think it would be really hard to make a movie as bad as his writing style. So, I would always pick the movies. And the writing style is also something that can't be replicated in these other media. For example, how the fuck are you gonna adapt Siddhartha or Damien into a movie? It doesn't make any sense. It wouldn't work because it's about the language that speaks directly to your mind and heart. And that's why it works. That's why Damien and Siddhartha, Herman Hesse is such a good writer because his words are the medium. And you can't really, there's not much happening. It's just self-discovery, a journey of men dealing with their lives and life journeys, as I said. There's not really much happening, as I said. Siddhartha, it's about a man who wants to find out who he is. And that is it. And he becomes, what's it called? A forest dweller, then he becomes a merchant, but first he's also a Brahmin, so one of the highest priest castes, and then he becomes like a forest dweller, then he becomes... It's really not much happening like that you would make a movie out of. But the language it just pulls you in. You are that person going through these life stages and trying to find yourself through that character, through that language. So I definitely recommend Hermann Hesse, his books, especially if you speak German or understand German. I recommend them in German. Okay, but it's also okay in other languages, but the German is just so beautiful. I never thought that German is a beautiful language because it just sounds so harsh and ugly. But with Hermann Hesse, I was like, okay, no. German has a true beauty to it that can't be replicated in any other language. I understand now. Lack of prose is what makes me hesitate to read Sanderson's works. I have read one, and it was about... Like, it was a Chinese-inspired setting, and I think there was, like, a lady that can replicate things. And I don't remember which... Yeah, she should replicate a king's soul or something. I think that was the point of the book. And I completely... No impression was left in me. But he's a cool dude. Like, he's a good writer, I think. I watched one of his lectures, like, the entire course. It's on YouTube. I don't know which university it was at, but it's on YouTube, a Brandon Sanderson writing course or whatever. And that was great. I think those are great tips. But as I said, I read one of his books and didn't remember anything. I wasn't pulled in. The language wasn't apparently nothing to make me go wow, and therefore remember it. So yeah. Wait, Sanderson's work, because from what I've heard, he seems to have the same simple style, like, yeah, Stephen King. See, I don't remember anything. Like, that's how much of an impression it left on me, the Sanderson book. But at least he is a little more creative than Stephen King, in my opinion. At least from what I have read. Like, I've read 2 Stephen King books, or 3, and 1 Sanderson book. And that one Sanderson book was at least... a little more creative. It had a little more imagination to it than Stephen King books. They were, I don't know. Oh, but Ubik, Akagetsugami, lent it to me. I like Ubik by Dick. That's his name, I think. Philip K. Dick was his name. Dick. Philip K. Dick. Since you like imagery and books, a very good but challenging book is The Divine Comedy. I know. Make sure to buy a version with the illustrations. I have it. They're great and inspired Berserk art. By the way, I'm a new fan. I watched your reactions of Chainsaw Man manga. This is the first time I see intelligent YouTuber. I am honored. Thank you. Divine Comedy is so good. So the books that I purchased that I'm really curious about, I'm gonna show them in a minute. I'm gonna bring them here and show them to you. These are the books that made me want to start reading again, and that made me make this channel so I can start reading again, so I can go to these books and read them, because I want to read them, but I can't because of my head. So as soon as I get rid of the concentration issues or get better, I want to read them. They're my goals, and I'm going to present you my goals in a minute. I'm going to show you some of the books now. I wish I could take you with me to my bookshelf instead. I'm going to make you look at my bookshelf and see me. Hold on. Oppa. There's my bookshelf, and I'm going to take some books now to show you that are the books that are my goals. Hold on, there's more. Okay. Oh god. This is a lot. Hold on. Look at my chair. There's 2 rows of books. So, I will present to you now the books that I want to read. Nietzsche, Zarathustra, that one. I have already started it, and I think I was like somewhere here in the middle of the book, and then I stopped, and that was a few years ago. Then, the Divine Comedy, and the images are there. At least I think those are the ones that were supposed to be in there. So, the Divine Comedy. Then, Rilke, he was a poet, and I fell in love with one of his poems, Der Panther, right? Where the fuck is it? Der Panther, Im Jardin des Plantes, Paris. I'm just gonna read it in German, and you tell me if you understand German, whether it sounds good, but I love it. Now, I'm not gonna read it. You're not gonna understand it anyway. So, that one, the price tag is still on this one. What the fuck? And the other one too. Okay, then, The Art of War, that one. So it's not all just fiction books. Also, Machiavelli, I forgot. Oh, there he is. Machiavelli, I have read in school until this part. Okay, so as you can see, I really love them, but then I fall out of it, and then I have to restart it all again, so I'm really bad when it comes to reading. It's not that these books are bad and that I stop in the middle of it. They're good, but I just have concentration issues. Then another book with the price tag still on is Lao Tzu, Tao Te King, that one. And this one I'm really curious about. This is das Handbuch für den Neustart der Welt. Alles, was man wissen muss, wenn nichts mehr geht. This is about how to restart civilization once an Armageddon happens. So you all know there's apocalyptic books, like what happens during the apocalypse or before it, but what happens after? Like, how do you rebuild civilization? So, by Louis Dartnell. You have survived the apocalypse and are now on your own. Everything stands still. What do you do? Like, I want to read that one. Sounds so interesting. I got most of these books on sale or at the flea market or a book bazaar. So they were really cheap, like around $4 or $5 each. Then The Godfather. Like, do you see how yellow the pages are? It's old, but this is The Godfather. I want to read that because I love the movies. I'm also a huge movie freak, just like Fujimoto. So yeah. As you can see, I started Sapiens 2 by Harari. I started, but also fell out of it, but it's good. I can recommend it. It's super good. Then Marx and Engels, it's a few of their works. As you can see, I started that one too, and then just didn't continue. Then the Modern Prometheus. You know this one. So yeah, that one I'm so curious about. Because it reminded me of Berserk when I watched Wendigoon's video on it. I was there at the live premiere, and I love it. What I heard from Wendigoon made me fall in love and be like, oh shit, this sounds so good. So yeah, I want to read that one too. And also the language sounded beautiful, but that's to be expected from books from the 1800s and early 1900s until 1930 or so. Then Anton Chekhov, The Duel and Other Stories. It's super old too. I think I got it from, maybe I found it because around town you'll find these little shelves just sporadically where people just put in their books that they want to get rid of, so other people can just take them. And especially in Graz, so my university town, you have a lot of them, and that's where I took a lot of these books from. So I didn't even pay for them. Then Georg Büchner, a famous German author, and that's all his collected works. Then the fairy tales of the brothers Grimm. These are all the German fairy tales collected into one. Then, of course, the Quran. Want to read that one. A nice fiction book, I guess, and another cool fiction book that inspired a lot of other fiction books. The Bible. I've read parts of it, and it's fucked, but interesting. But I haven't read the entire thing from start to finish, so I want to do that too. The Upanishads, which surprised me that it can all fit into this one tiny little reclam. Although, bro, you can't say that. I can say that. Be mad about it. And another Herman Hesse book, Unterm Rad, Under the Wheel, or I don't know how you would translate it. I have the Talmud. Wait for the Talmud. Hold on. Oh no, I don't have it. Fuck, I thought I had it. I have the Kabbalah. But I don't have the Talmud, apparently. What the fuck? I thought I had it. I have the Kabbalah. So. Then another book with the price tag still on. Then I Ching. Again, The Art of War. Then Nitobe's Bushido and the Hagakure, which is also a part of the Bushido discourse, but a lot more extreme. Then, I'm not gonna get rid of the price tags anymore. This was just €4. Confucius, all his musings or whatever. Then, where did I put the... This one had a... Anyway, Goethe, Faust, the entire, Faust Part 1 and Part 2. As you can see, I started it already, but... And it's beautiful, too. It's so beautiful. Beautifully written. I started that one, too, and kinda didn't continue. And then, Lost Paradise by John Milton. I think everyone knows that. This one also has all the illustrations. That one, and Fairy Tales from Arabia. 1001 Night. These are the more fictional ones. I have so many other books that I want to read. For example, so many art books that I've purchased that I still haven't read. I have a lot of sociological books that I still haven't read. For example, Prozess der Zivilisation. Fuck is that called? Most famous book from my country is Night in the Panther's Skin by Shota Rustaveli. A real hard one to understand, 11th century. Hard ones to understand. Yeah, especially if they're translated then into German or English that I would understand. It would also take a lot away from the understanding. But also, I want to... Other books that I want to purchase but still haven't yet. So these are the more fiction books, okay? Or philosophical things. There's also scientific things that I want to read. Okay, I can't really call the Harari Sapiens one fiction. It's pretty scientific, but if I showed you all the books that I want to read, we would be here until tomorrow, probably. Maybe I have some here. Yeah, I have some, but I don't think you want to know. So, I just showed you a part of the collection. These are the ones that I look forward to the most. There's other ones. I need to show you my art books. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be back in a second. And I speak 2 languages fluently. English and German. My mother tongue is Croatian, but I'm not that fluent in it. I also learned Russian and Japanese and Latin. Latin is a dead language. You can't speak it, so don't count it. And no, just a tiny bit of Spanish, because my Latino friends inspired me to learn a little bit about it. And also, because I had Latin, it's a lot easier to understand. French, I had... French is also... I understand it better than Russian, but probably worse than Croatian, probably. Hold on. My art books are coming now. Oh, you can also see my art wall. Ignore those. I am an art hoe, and also there's some things that are probably not YouTube friendly on there. You can see it. It's this one that I'm pointing towards. It's R18, I would say. So maybe don't look at it. Maybe I'm gonna do this with my chair so you can't see it. And also, so you can see Pochta a little better. I'm gonna bring the art books now, okay? Oh, wait. Sorry, before I bring the art books, I forgot to bring these. So, okay, Damien I've already read twice. That's the wrong one. But Murakami, Kafka on the Shore, Lolita, which is the book that I brought with me to Japan in 2016 because I thought, you know, I'm gonna be bored on my flight there. It's gonna be like 17 hours. I can read a bit. No. My entire 1-year stay in Japan, I didn't touch this book. It just got dirty, and that is it. But yeah, Lolita by Nabokov. I started it, but didn't continue it. And then Edgar Allan Poe, 2 books. Okay, now I'm gonna bring the art books. Oh god. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna show you books that you don't have to read. Because there's not a single word. Okay, I wouldn't say not a single word, but there's nothing written in them. You can just fucking look at them. This is one that I brought from the convention in Vienna. It's I think BL, and it's a comic without words. That's a good one. That was in my art section, so I've already read this one. This one I've also already read. I just wanted to support the creator. Hold on, their name isn't anywhere here. I forgot their name. But Suzumori. Suzumori on Twitter. Do they have a Twitter handle? Hold on. Twitter handle is Suzumori_521. Suzumori. And I like their monster art. And okay, that was a bad page to open up. It looks like bestiality porn, but it's not. It has all these cool monster designs and anthropomorphized monsters too. And it's cool to see the anatomy of these monsters that this person creates and the culture around them, because it looks like it has some lore. So I want to know more about these characters. But yeah, it's mostly just sketches. I'm not a furry, shut up. And this one, oof. This is volume 1. There is a volume 2. But this is just... It's just an entire picture book of people fucking. I love erotic... What the fuck is this? Look at this. Look at the penis bird that he's writing. Oh, it's a penis horse. Bird. Chimera, I don't know. Anyway, so these are the books that you read by just looking through the pages, and this one is cool. This one was by a biologist, I think, that combined basically art and science, because he sketched all the plants and tiny things he saw and discovered. So I think these are really cool. I want to look through all of his works here. Pretty amazing. Look at this. But yeah, you read this because you read about the artist / scientist. Ah, my back. Then Hieronymus Bosch, everyone knows him. His art also inspired Berserk. Now this is about hell. And yeah, all these different visions of hell. So we went from furries to erotica to plants to hell. So there's this hell. This is the guy that basically visualized chaos and hell and all the sins and Armageddon and whatever. But can the Gigachat Pochta defeat the Darkness Devil? Of course, of course. Then, Japanese erotica. I think Japanese contemporary art is beautiful. This is how I got into art in the first place. When I was in Japan, I just went to so many exhibitions, to so many galleries, and my Twitter art account is following just so many artists. Now I can show you, because these are also R18, so forgive me to show them to you on their head, but you're gonna see what I mean when I say that they're beautiful. These are a bunch of different artists. This is a collected work where you're introduced to these contemporary artists and their works. And, oh, I love this one. I love this one. Tama is one of my favorites. Yeah, it's just, I think it's beautiful. They're all so creative. I've been to most of these people's exhibitions. And you know this one. You know this one. This one is famous. Yeah, this is just, as I said, different erotica artists. I've ordered volume 2. And also this, what's good about this book is it has a Japanese section and then a translated English section, so it's very international. If you understand English, you can understand this book. I've ordered part 2, volume 2 of this book, because there's so many more artists that they made a volume 2, but it still hasn't arrived, and I ordered it at the beginning of September this year. It still hasn't arrived, but I hope it will someday. And these are not all the art books. I'm gonna bring the other batch right now, okay? Just wait. Okay. Let me sit down. 100 Manga Artists. I recommend this book because these are the most iconic manga artists and examples of their works. It's just beautiful. I've gone through it, like through every artist, and also gotten inspired. Haha, Uzumaki. So, but there's just 100. For example, but what I don't quite like is that some artists are introduced over like 6 or 8 pages, and Araki Hirohiko, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, 2 pages. Also, they switch between English, German, and French, so you better be fluent at all 3 languages or you're not gonna understand what they're saying about these artists. I don't think there's any Japanese except for, of course, the panels that the pages that they scanned for this book. But yeah, and it's more French than English and German, so you better be fluent in French to understand what it's saying. Do they have Murata there? They have, yeah. Oppa. Okay, these are not books. These are just postcards, but I love Raphael and Botticelli. But Raphael has a special place in my heart. So postcards, because see, this is postcard sized. I cannot buy the original paintings, okay? And I wouldn't wanna. So I just take postcards that all these artists have at their exhibitions in Japan, for example, or that they sell in bookstores of these artists, buy them and put them in these picture frames. So I have them in my room, like miniature versions of these famous works, or just artists that I admire. So, that's how I do. This one too, for example. This is of Yamamoto Takato. You can see his poster here. I have his postcards too. Some I have already taken out and put into. But there's also hold on. Look at how many postcards I have of Japanese artists that I took with me when I went to their exhibitions. Look. There's just so many that I took with me. And that's not it. Look. Look how many artists I have. Look at this. So, and there's a little more, but that's not important right now. I'm gonna put that one and Raphael here too. Yamamoto Takato. Then this one. This one was an accident buy because it's weird. It's just a travel diary with a little bit of art, which is fine, I guess. But I wanted there to be more text and more art. This is just a travel diary by this dude. But still, I'm not gonna bring it back or anything. And this one was the most important. I mean, the most expensive one. Even though I bought it secondhand, but still. You know him. You love him. This one has his pics. The other week, Alien and Alien 2 were being shown on TV here in Austria. I forgot the channel name. And during one of the breaks, because we have commercial breaks during every movie viewing here, I went to get this book and showed it to my mom and her boyfriend. I said, "Yo, I think this dude worked on Alien." And I went here and I said, "Look how his art resembles the spaceships." And then I got to the part where it's actually his work on Alien. And I said, "Didn't I say so? I know Geiger's art, but I don't know much about him, which is why I bought the book this summer, so I can read that." But I recognized when I watched Alien and Aliens, I was like, "Oh, is that Geiger? Is that what's it called? Inspired by Geiger's art?" No, it wasn't inspired by him. He was actually working on the movie and providing the designs for the movie, so... But hey, I can recognize artists. At least that's something. Then, signs and symbols and what they mean. This is so you can understand art pieces and their symbolism. And not just art pieces. Like, these drawings and paintings and whatever. Also, when you read something and their symbolism, you can understand it better. That's why I have that. And this one. Now, Japan has such a good relationship with art, I would say, because you would think, oh, Japan is such a restrictive society. Yes, it is, but on the other hand, art is so present in Japan. For example, here in Austria, you'd have to go to a museum or a gallery to get in touch with art, and it's mostly dead artists or modern artists that just, I don't know, splash paint onto a canvas and call it modern art. I don't know. But in Japan, I went into a Levi's store and they had a gallery there. A section of the Levi's jeans store was cleared so artists can present their stuff there. And I went to this person's exhibition at that. It was an accident. I actually accompanied my friend to buy. She wanted to buy jeans, and I was like, oh, I gotta go in there. And I got to know about this artist, and I bought their book. And if I had just bought the book the day after, I could have had it signed. But yeah, this is why I need to learn Japanese so I can read this. It's Alice in Mushroomland. But the art is beautiful, I gotta show you. It's all just pencil art, but look. It's a book with like it has a story and pictures. And look, I love Japan's obsession with mushrooms. Like, why do they find them pretty? But I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. So yeah, you can just go into a cafe, they'll have collaborations with artists. You can go into Loft and go to the top floor, they sell artists' merchandise and works. You can go to... There's so many galleries, you wouldn't even be able to tell that they're galleries that have exhibitions. Like there'd be a curry store, then a hardware store, and you have to get into these old-ass buildings with these old-ass, what are they called? Elevators that usually have a person operating them. And you get to a floor, and then you have, what's his called again? Marome Nkikyo. That's his exhibition, and it's just gore art. Beautiful. Like, you would never be able to find these galleries just by looking at the building. You have to follow the artists or specific galleries or organizations on Twitter, for example. They're mostly active on Twitter, to be able to find out the address and the floor of the building to go there and find these exhibitions. That was my favorite pastime in Japan. I was just hunting galleries, and Tokyo is big, okay? So you have these galleries because every week, let's say there's 200 galleries around Tokyo, and one exhibition goes for, let's say, 2 weeks, but per artist. How many, let's say 2 weeks to 1 month. You have so much to do, so many galleries to visit. They have the collaboration cafes, as I said. You go walk into any fucking store, jeans store or Loft, or, oh my god, Village Vanguard. Village Vanguard is a good store for that too. I mean, it's especially for artists. You have clothing stores that have collaborations with artists. You have so many, like, such a presence of art in Tokyo. So, another exhibition that I went to, Hoppala, was the Gore Deck, which is these artists use skateboards and the underside of the skateboards and make designs. And just look. So you go into this gallery and it's just these skateboards that are painted, and they're also 3D. Like, they have dimension, these arts, because they glue stuff on them. And it's just all these different artists and their designs. And I, of course, bought the book corresponding to that exhibition. This is just a 2017 exhibition. They have an exhibition every year. So you can buy a Gore Deck catalog book from, yes, it was 2017, and the organizers are mograg.com. You can find them there, or goredeck.net. Each year, like, every catalog is gonna be different because each year there's different artists. Amazing. Imagine living in Tokyo. I want to live in Tokyo just so I can collect these Gore Deck books. Okay, not just because of that, but... And I also wouldn't want to live in Japan, but I wish I could get a hold of all these books. And then, of course, more erotic art. And another reason to learn Japanese, because the interviews are in Japanese. And also they have their working process here. And they give tips on how to do specific work. So yeah. Anyway, I don't think AI art is gonna take over. because it relies on art already being made and then just morphing them. And AI isn't really that advanced yet. Like, people think they are, but it isn't yet. Not really. Not really. Like, people try to implement AI facial and body micro expressions AI machines in, I don't know, airports and shit like that. It's not working. It's not working. Not just because the science isn't there for like body language and so on, but because AI is just not that developed yet. And art will always be, like, it's in the word. Creation by human. AI cannot create. It can just morph things. Alright, I will be putting away all my books now. That's gonna be such a fucking pain. So many books here. And my shelf is still full. So yeah. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Bye bye.